So, I mean, that obviously would inhibit some people from, playing games out, but most people don't care. I do care, but that's just me. So then another thing, the DSi store itself has we get 1,000 free points up until what the hell is that date?
I think it's like October
of like 2010 or something. So, or no, it's like March 2010. So you get 1,000 free points, and you can use these points on anything in the DSi store from now until whenever.
$10 worth of,
which actually is a pretty good deal. I mean, for the most part, it's
actually good marketing too.
Yeah,
it's getting a lot of people buying their DSs earlier than they would have expected.
Yeah, there's 4 point designations in the DSi store. There's anything that's free, which at the time right now is just the Opera browser. There's 200 point designations, there's 500 point designations, and there's 800 point designations. And eventually, what the thought process is that there might be a virtual console on here for original Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color games.
It was announced in Japan, I think at the Tokyo Game Show. I can't remember where it was announced, but if you go to combo.com, I think it's combo with a K, there's an article about it. Now, however, Nintendo has specifically told them that it was only announced in Japan for the time being, so the information isn't accurate towards North America. However, not much I can see being changed.
Yeah.
But on that note, not everything in that article is going to be the same in North America, but that's still a pretty good deal, because I mean 200 points or $2 essentially for a classic Game Boy game is a huge bonus. Like there's a lot of good games on the original Game Boy. 500 for Game Boy Color, again, that's not bad. That's the same price you're paying for NES games on the Virtual Console for the Wii, and 800 points for Game Boy Advance, which is the same as the Super Nintendo games. Yeah,
just think about it this way: instead of paying $40 for Pokemon Diamond on the DS, you could pay $2 and get Pokemon Red or Blue,
or Fire Red or Leaf Green or Crystal Platinum.
Yeah, well,
anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty awesome. And there's so many games on the game, like the original Game Boy, that I haven't played in years, like Zelda Link's Awakening, James Bond 007.
Balloon Kid.
Yeah, oh man, there was Kid Dracula was a fantastic, one of my favorite games on the Game Boy.
Final Fantasy adventure games. There's a lot of classic games that a lot of people missed out on, or can't find nowadays because they're kind of treasures.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a huge boost in Nintendo sales.
And because there's no GBA slot, if you can download GBA games, I mean,
which is also a smart move. I mean, they got rid of the slot, but that just means you get another way to actually play your games.
Yeah.
Which means you don't have to carry around all your Game Boy Advance games, because even I sometimes don't like carrying around, 9 DS cartridges, even though they're significantly smaller than a Game Boy Advance case. That's still, a lot of random crap floating around in my pocket.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to keep that stuff, even though the cartridges are really sturdy. I mean, I
haven't broken one.
I have never broken a cartridge, but I've put it through its paces just to see what it's going to take, and they take a lot of shit before they quit. So it's like, holding them in my pocket, I don't really think is a good idea, and the only alternative is to get cases for them, and then they'll take up even more space. So I don't really, how the hell would you carry 9 DS cartridges in your pocket for? You'd really switch games that much?
If you're bored. Go to the doctor's office,
So bottom line, the thing is $200 if you don't have one. Is it worth it if you don't have one?
If you're looking to get a DS, yeah, it's worth it. I mean, why buy the previous, why buy an old, like a Gateway 2000 when you could buy a modern Gateway now?
Yeah.
It's just like,
because this is the way it's going to be going.
There's probably going to be a new DS out there kind of deal, but might as well get the top of the line, what you can at the time being. Now, that's not to say go out and buy, an Xbox 360 Elite when you could just buy a Pro and get the same deal.
Yeah.
However, if you want to get the most out of it and the most out of the games that are going to be released soon, definitely get the DSi. You're not going to be missing out. I mean, if you're still wanting to play Game Boy Advance games, you could go for a DS Lite, trade it in a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the GameStop BB offer is going to be lasting, but
yeah, that's a good question. Like I paying $100 or like 99 bucks to buy a DS Lite just so you can play GBA games still, and then a couple months later trading that in and spending another 125 bucks.
Yeah.
It's if you're not like the thing is, like, there's going to be
the money to spend, it's
there's
up to you, but
so many good games in the DS library. There's 1,000 games that are awesome in the DS library, and the Game Boy Advance in the Game Boy Advance library, there's tons as well. But you know what? This is where it's going to be going the next little while. And if GBA games are coming to a virtual console for this thing anyway,
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose.
It
There's
just saves
really
you from
nothing to
having to buy
lose.
cartridges.
Yeah.
The only reason that Game Boy Advance games are, $20 as it is now to buy the actual cartridge is just because of the price to make the actual cartridge itself. So realistically, it's kind of cheaper. Well, it is cheaper just to buy the game itself electronically, but also, if you want to put that modern tag that everyone's putting on everything, it's the eco-friendly kind of way to buy games now, is just buy a digital copy. You're not wasting paper for manuals, plastic for cases, for DVDs, for CDs, so on and so forth.
Just straight to your hard drive, and it's like
the only problem is you have to make sure
friendly.
your DSi doesn't die, or you have your games backed up on the SD card.
Yeah.
So,
which, I mean, I don't know if that would happen, but I mean, I guess anything's possible for hard drives. Another thing that people are pissed off about is they got rid of the silver color. A lot of people are kind of in a little bit of an uproar because silver is like pretty much the stalwart since
for the DS, it's the staple kind of.
Even the original Game Boy was gray.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they have black and a blue color, which is the one that my mom got, which is actually a really nice color. It kind of looks like
it
looks like candy, and
don't need it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But it actually looks really cool. But I don't know. Okay, silver's gone. All right.
A lot of people are upset about it, though. That's just...
The only thing I'm upset about is I hate the matte finish. The matte finish pisses me off.
This just comes down to a matter of opinion.
Yeah,
really.
this is a straight preference.
As much as everything is.
I like with my iPhone being glossy on the back. I liked my DS Lite being glossy. I know it showed fingerprints, and that sucks, but
that's why I didn't like the gloss finish. I'm a bigger fan of the matte finish because
it feels like sandpaper.
Yeah, but
listen to that. Sandpaper.
It's just kind of disgusting playing a DS, and when you're done, you can see all your greasy fingerprints all over it. It's like I'd rather not have to see that, or rather not have to, every week essentially polish my DS so it doesn't look greasy.
I kind of like doing that.
Nah, I didn't. So I like the matte finish. I mean, it just again comes down to a matter of opinion, really.
Yeah, I don't like the way it feels, but I'm getting used to it.
So.
Other than that, the DSi is a fantastic thing. The stuff that it markets on with the cameras and the sound editing is really fucking lame.
It's a hokey tack-on, but it's fun to play around with when you first got it. Because when I first got mine, I had to drive out of the city to get it. On the drive back, me and another friend who was in the car with me, we were just having fun goofing around with the DSi voice editing and the camera.
Yeah, I saw those pictures Andrew had on Facebook. They were actually pretty funny.
Frames, so you can put goofy frames, so you take a picture of your friend, but it's got pink hooker hair.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
It's for laughs. I mean, it's eventually I'm going to assume that with the DSi games they're going to be implementing a lot of that in the gameplay, which could be really revolutionary if they do it right.
Firmware updates to the camera itself, adding more features to it. Likewise for the sound editing. So who knows? Maybe down the line it'll become something worthwhile and something more useful to use.
I would hope so. I mean, it would have to be. I don't see Nintendo putting out another handheld for 3 or 4 years. So let's hope that they really improve this thing, quite a bit in the next few years. Next, though, we got Rhythm Heaven on the DS, which I suppose you could call a game, but it's not really. There's really nothing.
It's a game of micro games. It's like WarioWare in a sense.
Yeah, but you don't really do much with WarioWare. There's you use buttons and controls, and you use the touchscreen a lot and stuff. But in this game, you just tap or flick.
As it says on the cover, tap into the rhythm.
Yeah, there's two things you do in this game: you tap and you flick. So
it's a fun game. It's really easy to get into. The only problem is it can be really relentless on certain challenges.
Oh yeah, it's hard right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So if you don't have timing,
games aren't your thing. I have no musical talent whatsoever, and I have a hard time. But this guy, he's a drummer, good at keeping a beat, and I've seen him not pay attention to the game and still get a better score than I do.
Yeah, I can close my eyes and just listen to it and still get pretty good scores. Thing is, this isn't Rock Band or Guitar Hero or anything like that. This is a completely different monster in itself.
This is Nintendo.
Yeah.
Expect childish, goofy-looking colors.
Basically, what you get is the first game is these squares are rolling down this conveyor belt towards each other. Every time they clunk down on each other, they make a noise and they make a beat, and they have holes in them, like two little circles in each square. So when they overlap, there's two holes going right through, and you have to flick a rod thing through the two holes, and then it'll knock down and it'll go on the conveyor belt and you keep going. So
it's Nintendo's way of teaching children the birds and the bees.
Yeah, I guess that's actually kind of funny. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, put the long rod in the hole. All right, that's cool. But so you keep doing this, and you make sort of a song after it, and it's actually really catchy. And then they turn off the lights, as they say in the game, and there's just like a little circle, and everything else is black, and then you have to sort of listen to it, and then boom, all of a sudden they're there, and then you flick